Have you ever had one of those weeks where everything that you planned completely unraveled? The week that was supposed to be full of celebration suddenly became one of disappointment, some hospital visits, uncertainty, and trying to figure out how to keep showing up when all you want to really do is hide. If you have ever wondered what resilience actually looks like, not the Instagram version, but the real version, I think this episode is going to be for you. Let's talk about what happens when life doesn't go according to plan and what I'm learning about myself right in the middle of it all.
Welcome to the Rise to Shine podcast with Noelle Kustas, where we ignite the spark to discover your favorite self. It is time to get real, ladies.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the Rise to Shine podcast. I'm your host, Noelle Cuss, and someone who is showing up today without any makeup, without my hair done, no jewelry, literally just completely raw. Now, if you don't catch us on YouTube, then it's not going to matter to you what it is that I look like. But if you're watching on YouTube and you're wondering, holy cow, where is that Noelle that we know? This is me. This is me this week, today, right now, coming at you with a very full heart. This isn't the episode that I thought I was going to be recording. Actually, if you had asked me a week ago what this podcast would be about, I would have painted you a completely different picture and I would have been talking about something else entirely. Because I imagined that I would be sitting here talking about an amazing launch for the Glow Up School. I imagined that I would just be settling into 7 weeks in our home for the next part of the summer at the beach. I would have thought I was going to be talking to you about slow morning rhythms, family dinners, long walks, maybe a little bit of work here and there, and just a lot of rest. Those are the things that I was dreaming about that I would be talking about. And yes, for those of you again that are watching on YouTube, this is our space. So you are going to see a different background. On several of our episodes as I will be recording from our home. But instead, I come on here within the first 48 hours of arriving. My father in law took an unexpected turn in his health and was taken to the hospital, and he is still currently there. The Glow Up School launched this last month. And if I'm being completely honest, it didn't go the way I had hoped. And family began arriving from out of state today. Everyone's emotions have been very heightened. Lots of plans have been shifted. Schedules, I don't even know what that looks like right now. And suddenly, the week that I had imagined wasn't the week that I have lived. And I want to be honest about something else. There was a moment, actually more than one moment, where I questioned even showing up here. And uh, it is not easy. And I started just questioning, like, maybe you're not as ready as you thought you were. And maybe you're not doing what you're even supposed to be doing on this planet. Maybe you're misaligned right now. All of the things started going through my head this week as I was basically in a bit of turmoil with some different situations, right? And honestly, I almost didn't record today. And I told my podcast producer, my podcast is due, yes, was due yesterday. And I said, give me one more day. I've got it for you. We'll be good to go. And I am literally sitting here the next day in the evening debating all day whether or not I even come on. And I just kept thinking, what could I possibly say right now? I don't have the lesson. I don't have the ending. I haven't even figured all of this out yet. And then as I was contemplating all that, I thought maybe that's exactly why I should record. Because maybe somebody out there listening isn't on the other side of their hard week or their hard work either. Maybe you're right in the middle of some hard things. Maybe you just need someone willing to sit beside you while you're walking through it. And one thing that I have realized this week that I'm learning about myself is not the polished version of me at all, not the version of me that has like this grandiose plan, but I'm really tapping into this like extra real version of me, the one that shows up when life still completely gets hard. And there's some things that have surprised me in this space because I'm learning that when things get hard, my instinct is to get very small. I don't naturally become louder. I do not naturally become more visible. And I definitely don't hustle harder. I tend to retreat. I want to honestly just go hide under a rock. I want to turn off all my social media. I want to ignore my inbox. And all I want to do is nurture the people that I love. And I want to make sure that everyone else is okay. And there is something beautiful about it because I know one thing about myself is that I love deeply. I care so deeply. And family has always been the center of my life, always. But here's what I'm sitting with that loving people well and losing yourself in the process are two very different things. And I've had to actually ask myself this week, am I retreating to restore or am I just disappearing? Because again, there's a difference, a real one. Because if I disappear completely, eventually I do have to come back to a mountain that feels harder to climb. So this week I've been trying to just practice something different. And one thing it is not balance. It's not, it is not perfection in any shape or form. But what I've been trying to do is just like little tiny returns. So it's just maybe popping on and sending one email, or maybe it's going for one little walk, or maybe it's just one journal entry, one conversation, one podcast that I'm turning in late because I've realized I don't have to carry everything today. I just have to keep returning little by little. And I'm just focusing on the things that matter. And can I tell you something else? These tiny returns have actually felt really good. And it's not even because I'm fixing anything, it's because they reminded me that I am still here. I am still me. Even in the hard weeks, I don't have to completely vanish and I get to just be me. And here's what's fascinating is that everything that I have taught inside of the Glow Up School is exactly what is holding me together right now. Because one thing that we don't do in the Glow Up School is fix all the situations. It just isn't. My father in law, as I'm recording this podcast, is still in the hospital. My heart still hurts over the launch that, quite frankly, flopped. And there are still unknowns. But the rhythms and some of the tiny habits, my quiet mornings, the journaling, the prayers, they are the things that are catching me every single day. I'm realizing, and I realized this a while ago, but man, I knew that there would be hard that I would hit up against at some point. I've even talked about it on this podcast. And I'm realizing that these practices were never about becoming more productive. They were really about creating anchors because the goal was never to build a beautiful life only for the easy seasons. The goal was to build a life that could hold me through all of the hard ones too, all of the challenges. That was truly the goal. And I think that this is one of the most important things I could ever say on this podcast. We don't build rituals and rhythms for the good days. We build them for the days and the weeks like these. for the weeks that totally blindside us, for the moments that we just can't find our footing. That's when those anchors matter the most. And that's when you get to reach for them. And you are so grateful that they're there. I have been so grateful. I'm also learning, and again, I've known this, but like I'm actually living it in real time, that grief and gratitude can exist in the same exact moment. That you can be absolutely heartbroken about something and deeply grateful for something else all at once. And this week, I'm telling you, I have been both. And I think that is one of the most human things that there is. I've spent a lot of time reflecting on the glow up school this week, not because I think it failed, but because I think it has revealed something to me, and I don't know exactly what that something is yet. And that's hard to admit. I don't have a brand new strategy. I don't have this big announcement. I really believe that I'm just in the middle of something. And that is so uncomfortable for me because I like clarity. I like vision. I like having a plan. I want to be that girl that's like, I'm so spontaneous. Like, I love it all. Yeah, I am when I'm in a good place. But I'm not that when I am feeling like my grounding is not stable. I'm just not that girl. And I want to normalize that for you right now. Being in the middle of something, not knowing what's going to come next, it is not failure. It's not failure. It's not a sign that we got it wrong. Sometimes I think it can be the most honest place that we can be. And I'm hoping and I'm believing that it is the next right thing that will get revealed because I didn't force it and because I'm just in the moment and I stayed open to receive long enough to actually receive, if that makes sense. But I've also lived long enough now to know that some of the biggest shifts in my life didn't happen because I forced clarity. They happened because I stayed curious enough for clarity to find me. I stayed open enough for that to happen. And one thing I do know is that over the last year, I've been getting to know myself in a way that I have never known myself before. Through a lot of prayer, through reflection, through personal work, through human design, through paying attention. I've been getting to know myself in a way that I've never really known myself. And this week, whew, man, it's revealing everything on an even deeper level. And one of the things that I've been asking is, how did God uniquely wire me? Not because I need another label, but because I truly believe that understanding ourselves helps us to steward our gifts well. When we understand who we are going to be able to steward our gifts to the world, to our community, to the people that we love. And one thing has become really clear for me. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I am meant to gather people. I am meant to create community. I am meant to use my voice. I shared in another episode how there have been two things that God has said out loud. I believe that it was God's voice. Rise to Shine was one of them, and this was like 6 years ago. I just heard Rise to Shine, and now my entire brand is Rise to Shine. And then I heard recently, a few months ago, use your voice. And I didn't even know what that meant. So I know I'm meant to do that. That has been, for the last several months, that has been absolutely confirmed. But I also know that I'm meant to teach and to educate. And I'm meant to like connect dots. And when I look back over my life, being a teacher, becoming a life coach, and hosting events and a retreat and creating all of this community, starting this podcast, even, and then building up the Glow Up School, none of that was random. The threads of everything have always been there. And I know that, and here's something really interesting. I know I'm not becoming someone new. I'm actually becoming more fully who I have always been. And maybe that's what the launch is trying to show me. Not that I need to abandon the vision, but that I just might need to refine things. I don't know. And I think that might be true for so many of you as well. The hard seasons aren't erasing who we are. They're just clarifying things for us. They're stripping away what was maybe never really ours to begin with and leaving behind maybe what is, I don't know, what isn't meant to be. And I feel like it's not a loss, it's just refinement. Like we're constantly refining and we're kind of fine tuning. And I feel like refinement is always worth it, even when it's hard. It's always worth it. And then I'm also just really doing my best to trust the process, even when I can't yet see this outcome. Because if I, like reflect on even my faith, that has never really been about certainty. It's been about trust. It's been trusting that my story is being written. And I'm also been trusting that the disappointments and the things that have happened, it isn't always meant to be just like a dead end. It's never final. Sometimes it's just this redirection. Sometimes, like I said, it's more of the refinement. Sometimes it's simply an invitation to just slow the heck down long enough to hear what I have been too busy to even notice. And this week, even though it's been a lot of chaos and there's been a lot going on, there has been a lot of slowness. And in those like really quiet moments and just being at this new space and just really kind of taking some deep breaths and having this heavy heart, if you will, I have really felt like I've been hearing things that I've been needing to hear. I had been so excited about so many things, and I think that's important that we are. But I also think that because I was so excited manifesting my future, like just being like, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is the plan. And I do try my hardest to stay in the moment. But I also, again, I told you, I love to have a plan. I love to have a vision. But I think sometimes I get caught up in that. And so when things get derailed, I'm like, whoa, what just happened? Like, what is going on? And sometimes maybe that gift is wrapped in the thing that we least wanted to happen. And I'm still unwrapping mine. I have not figured this out at all, but I'm starting to believe that there is something inside of this package worth finding. Of course, I'm going to let you know when I do figure this out. But I just feel like it's so important for us to be able to admit what it is that we're going through. That's why I was just like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to come on here raw and real. And I don't care if I don't have the makeup on. I don't care if I don't look like the way I normally do when I pop on a podcast and all this like high vibe energy. Cause I will say I love to get on my podcast in high vibes, and my vibes are like medium. They're medium right now. They're not super high, but they're not super low. Because again, I've created these rhythms. I've created some of these, micro habits. I've created things in my life that are sustainable even through the hard. And one of the things that we know about my father-in-law, and again, I am one that I love to see the glass half full, but I also know that there is reality. And I also know that the health of where he's at right now is not something that is going to reverse itself. It's likely going to progress. There might be some stability that we can find in that, but I'm understanding that like I don't need to completely fall apart. And again, ask me in a month or two from now. I'll keep you abreast with the journey, but I really don't want to be a victim of circumstance. I really do believe that I am learning how to human. I think it's important. And one thing I do not want you to get confused on is I think it is important to write out emotions. Believe me, I've had some massive cries in the last couple of days. As a matter of fact, my son just walked in the door and I had a big old cry session with him. And that's life. That's life. And that's okay. It was actually cleansing. It felt good. But I also know I don't want to stay there. And I also know, like, what am I accountable for? What are the things that I can control and what are the things that I can't control? So, if you're listening today and life is feeling heavy, I just want you to know. And I feel like the reason why I came on here today is to let you know that you're living a human life. Maybe your week doesn't look anything like you thought it would. Maybe your plans have fallen apart. Maybe they haven't. I'm celebrating you if you are on the opposite side because I know that's weird too sometimes when people you know and care about are going through something really hard and then things are really going well for you. Remember, it's that grief and gratitude at the same time. We can live simultaneously there. And so I am shouting you out. I am celebrating you if you are going through amazing things and I still want to hear about them. But I also know that, like, maybe someone you love is hurting. Maybe your business is feeling uncertain right now, or maybe your heart is carrying some disappointment that no one else sees. Maybe there's things going on in the background. I just want you to know that I see you and I hope that you'll give yourself permission to respond with compassion for yourself instead of criticizing yourself. Because sometimes I can do that. So just give yourself permission to be in the middle of something without having to perform your way through it. Give yourself permission to take just those tiny returns instead of those huge leaps right now. Give yourself permission to feel it all, every single bit of it, without deciding it means something is wrong with you. That's the thing, right? Maybe resilience, maybe it's not about holding everything together. Maybe resilience is learning how to come home to yourself over and over again. I just feel like taking a really big deep breath right now. Just like really taking that breath because I just want to say thank you for letting me be honest today. After all, it is kind of my podcast, so I guess I get to decide that. But thank you if you decided to tune in and you decided to listen. Thank you for giving me space to just show up before I have the perfect ending. And I promise I'll let you know when I do, if I do. And also, I always love to say if this episode encouraged you, would you share it with someone who's maybe carrying something heavy right now? Maybe another woman who is just kind of quietly holding everyone else together. Maybe someone who just needs to know that they're not alone in it. Believe me, I have my village and I've been leaning in on that because I believe that that is one of the most powerful things that we can do for each other. We don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to fix it. We just have to show up and say, I see you. You're not alone. And that we're going to make it through this. We are. We're all going to make it through. And I want to believe that. I want to believe that for you, for my family who's kind of in the thick of things right now. We just want to believe that. So I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for just growing with me. And as I always say at the end of every podcast, keep rising, keep shining, and know the best day is right here waiting for you. We'll see you next time, my friends. Have a great week.
Thanks for joining me here today. Your presence means the world to me. If you enjoyed what you heard, please consider leaving a rating and review, and don't forget to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Head to the show notes and let's connect. Rise to Shine Co. is ready to support you in coaching, collaboration, life tips, or even a coffee chat. Until next time, keep shining, my friends.